y'all, what's good? It's your boy Easy back with another video, and today we are going to settle a damn debate, right? I know y'all saw that RDC put out who's the weakest nation in Avatar, right? And honestly, I made a post about this online, like, on TikTok and whatever, and people were kind of tripping what I say as the number one. So I'm about to dive deeper in why I chose these in this order, right? All right, let's go. At number 4, as the least weakest nation, is literally the Earth Kingdom, right? Right. Don't even start, right? 1, they held solid for 100-year war. On top of that, the Fire Nation refused to go into Amashu. They couldn't even get into Basi Sane for the longest time. And on top of that, they tried to cripple them by taking out Earthbenders by, random colonies around, small villages, putting them on ships, and forcing them to be like slaves that shovel coal into a boat. And even then, when they found out, like, you know what? Shit. We outnumber these fools, take them out. And they did. Then you have Toph, who is arguably the strongest Earthbender in that universe. You have Bumi, who allowed, say it again, he allowed himself to get captured. And you have Kyoshi, who's also, from the Earth Kingdom, but still a badass who was strong enough to make her own island and separate herself from the mainland. And then Yoon, if you read the book, you feel me? I ain't gonna go dive deep into that, but just know he's him. So Earth Nation being literally the one that held it down the most is definitely not the weakest nation. Now, I know the next thing I'm about to say is about to be super controversial, so let me hear it. But be respectful, I swear to God. Number 3 is the Air Nomads. Oh wait, they don't have military, they don't got... Yeah, I already know that, right? But think about this. They got jumped. They literally, in the cartoons, Gato had bodies, like on top of bodies. Even though they were like passive and whatever, I mean, that's their only crutch in life, is they're super passive and defensive and choose not to, fight or start the fight. They're not weak. It's just like, if they all had the same type of timing as Yang Chen and Zahir, even though Zahir's not technically part of the Air Nomads and stuff, but he's an airbender, they would be deadly and literally the most broken, element out there, if we're being completely honest, because air is all around you. They can literally suck the oxygen out of you at any given moment if they get close. Like, the Air Nomads were not weak. They just chose to be passive for a reason. Just their way of life. Which y'all saw that as in, oh, they're super weak and all that. No, not even the slightest. You telling me when Aang snapped, when he found out that Appa got his shit muzzled and he just suddenly just blew up a sand sailor with wind. Not one of them, but 3 of them. Oh, that's weak shit? Come on now. You telling me the element that can start its own tornado if they damn well please? Suck the air out of your lungs if they damn well please to do it to you? Come on now. Y'all gotta stop playing with me. Just because they got jumped doesn't mean they're the weakest. Aang was just a very kind-hearted person, and he chose not to fight a lot of the times. He likes to play defense instead of O. So, hell no, the Air Nomads is not the weakest. And they're like right in front of the Earth Nation. Like, if we're gonna be completely honest, they could be right behind them if they all didn't get wiped out. Sad to say. Right at number 2, we have the Fire Nation. Honestly speaking, this is the Fire Nation. I ain't gonna lie to you. And yeah, some people will be like, but how? Well, let's just see this, right? 1, they can't, outside of like, the main 5, whatever, they couldn't do shit. They needed Sozin's Comet to take out everything, like a guaranteed win. Outside of Sozin's Comet, what else they got outside of Azula, Zuko, Ozai, Iroh? Jean ran away from him, so he really don't really count. And Zhao got cooked by his own temper. Like, y'all needed Sozin's Comet to take over the world. Without it, would y'all even be able to do it? No. I mean, granted, Sozin conquered one piece of Earth Nation, without supposed to comment, but then Roku came in there pretty quick and said, leave this place. And he, took a knee and then got suspended in the air by him. The Fire Nation is not all that. All they knew was jumping and just know how to diminish somebody's, morale to the point where they think they're hopeless. And once people figured out, like, maybe they're not so tough. And they actually drove a lot of them back. Like I said, they didn't take Omashu until Boomy allowed it to happen. Now I say allowed. And then when, the lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse happened, what happened? He took that shit back by himself. Even though the day of Black Sun would have been the day the Fire Nation ended, until the Earth Kingdom, gave the whole plan to Azula by accident. And there's nothing else I can say about the Fire Nation being like that. The sub-bending, y'all gonna try to bring up lightning bending and all that. Let's just say this right now. Only 3 people can do that. Only 2 or 3 people can redirect it. Everybody else is what? They're good, bro. They're just there. They're literally just there. Like, there is really no argument to say that the Fire Nation is literally the strongest. Only argument y'all can say is they create their own element. Which is fair. They can literally just feel fire from their hands or whatever. But even if you're using firebending in the worst form, which is out of rage or whatever, eventually that shit's gonna go away. I'm just saying, long story short, the Fire Nation is literally in number 2 for a reason. And they could arguably be number 1 because all they know was jumping and seizing the right opportunity. Outside of that, they couldn't create their own technology like that. They had to have a guy from another nation who they just say, hey, if you don't create it, we'll kill you. Because if they didn't do that, they wouldn't even have war balloons. Just saying. Moving on to the weakest. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This hurt my feelings because this is my favorite element, The Water Nation is absolutely the weakest.
Hey, I got my eye on you.
Water Tribe.
And it's not even close, right? And I know people are going to be like, oh my god, what about bloodbending? What about it? What about it? You can literally only count on one hand exactly how many bloodbenders there were. And they all weren't even in the same era. So, yeah, that argument's out of the way. We only knew 5 people who knew how to do bloodbending. And on top of that, the Siege of the Water Tribe, that whole thing proved why they were the weakest, right? They're so stubborn and sexist to the point that they weren't even allowing women to fight. And then Katara comes in there and be the best fighter in there. So y'all are so bullheaded and stubborn, y'all didn't want to realize that a woman can be just as good as a man in fighting? Y'all are wasting resources and manpower. What is wrong with y'all? On top of that, right? Not everybody is as innovative as Katara and Hama. Only 2 people learn how to, sweat bend, take water out of flowers, take water out of the air, take water out of trees, and nobody else did that shit. If they weren't around some water or anything like that, they were fucked. They were hopeless because they couldn't just get out their own ass. I know people are gonna be like, it's the strongest. What about bloodbending? Again, I'm telling you, y'all can't argue bloodbending because only 5 people knew that. Y'all cannot argue that innovation bending because only 2 people knew that. The Water Tribe was literally its own demise, bro. Military strength and wise like that, they could be, a badass core. It could have been, one of the strongest. But unfortunately, they are the weakest nation. Not the weakest element, but the weakest nation. Because, man, they were really their worst enemy, dog. I cannot stress that enough. That whole bit of this, Siege of the Water Tribe was easy. Zhao showed them, got lucky enough to kill the Moon Spirit just by following his crazy own conspiracy theories and turned out to be true. Boom. Take out the Moon Spirit or take out the Moon. Hell, fight them in daylight. You're good. You're good. Unless you OD strong like Paku or Katara, I don't see them actually winning a lot of battles like that. And even in, what's it called, Korra, the Legend of Korra, they had a whole civil war amongst themselves. I don't know what it is about the Water Nation, but they just keep on fighting within themselves. They're their own worst enemy. Long story short, they are literally their own worst enemy. But that's why I had them at the weakest nation out of the entire Avatar: The Last Airbender, lore. But if you made it to the end of the video, please comment down below, who do you think is the weakest nation of them all? Honestly speaking, I really don't. I probably won't agree with y'all when it comes to the Air Nation shit. Cause I know a lot of people are gonna comment down Air Nomads because they don't have, an army and stuff like that. That's literally not the point. You watch again, all of them got bodies. Now I'm not talking about that live action one where, they made Yato a little punk low key, but they got bodies before they all got wiped out. Just saying. But make sure you comment, subscribe, and share to everybody you know, and follow the socials down below, and share to every Avatar: The Last Airbender fan you know, and London Korra. And I do want to hear who is the weakest nation to y'all. Alright? But it's your boy Easy. Till next time, y'all.